Hey everyone, welcome back to our scenes. So in today's video, we are going to try and understand transportation in plants. So in my previous video, we have discussed about transportation in human beings. Today, we are going to see in plants. So this is from the chapter Life Processes, Part 1 book. Okay, so discussing transportation in plants. As we all know, animals and plants are very much different from one another. Their their physical, features, their internal features, external, both internal, all these are different from one another. So, as you know, in human beings or particularly in animals, we have got a heart. That is in complex animals like us. We have got a heart, we have got blood in liquid form. Then we have got the entire blood vessel system, arteries, veins, capillaries and all, which will help in transportation. Whereas in plants, it is nothing of that sort, right? So it's not as complex as ours, but still there is a different mechanism happening inside the body of a plant in order to transport substances from one part to the other. Now the question, what does a plant have, or what are the substances which has to be transported in a plant's body? So let's start with a simple concept such as photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is something which we have been studying from very lower class. So this photosynthesis, though you have been studying since lower classes, it is an important process in plant which actually helps the plant to survive. So as we know, for photosynthesis, the raw materials required are carbon dioxide, water and minerals, and lastly this is what is produced after photosynthesis, that is the food material. So other than this, we need sunlight. Sunlight is not needed to be transported inside the plant's body, so we won't be talking about it. Talking about carbon dioxide is taken by the stomata present inside the leaf. Stomata is nothing but the tiny two kidney shaped cells arranged in a circular manner, very tiny microscopic structure present on the leaf surface of the leaf, that is on the top as well as the bottom surface. So this tiny pores actually helps in absorbing or taking inside carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. After taking inside, this carbon dioxide need not be transported to any part of the plant body, since this carbon dioxide is utilized for photosynthesis, and photosynthesis is also carried out in leaf. So stomata is also inside the leaf, so carbon dioxide which is taken, it will stay in the leaf, it will be used for photosynthesis, and that's it about carbon dioxide. So there is no need for transportation for carbon dioxide, so I'll just leave it aside. Now coming to water and minerals. Water and minerals, as we all know, minerals in dissolved form along with water is taken by the plant through roots. Since the roots are the part which are under the ground, it is easier for the roots to absorb the water. So how this is happening, we'll talk about it. Other than this, after these are the raw materials, right? So using this as well as sunlight, the photosynthesis process will be carried out, resulting in production of food, which is nothing but sucrose, glucose and all the sugary substance. Okay, so now this food, as you know, this food has to be supplied to each and every cell of the plant body. Similarly, this water and minerals also need to be supplied to each and every cell of the plant body, irrespective whether it is a growing part or dead part. Most dead leaves or dead cells of the plant body does not require much of water, but still the other parts require. So these two are the main things which need to be transported. Now for transporting these two substances, we are having a special kind of tissue. We call them as conducting tissues or vascular tissues. Okay, so this conducting tissues are of two types, xylem and phloem. Okay, So xylem and phloem are the two types. So talking about xylem and phloem, xylem will help in conducting water and minerals, that is this one, and phloem will be helping in conducting food particles. So xylem for water and phloem for food. Now this is something which you have studied in your 9th standard in the previous year. So xylem has got 4 components. Similarly, phloem has got 4 components. Xylem's components are xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, vessels and tracheids. Whereas for phloem, parenchyma, that is phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers and sieve tubes and companion cells. Now, see here, among this, as you know, parenchyma is the only living form. Rest all are here, the dead ones. This companion cell, though it is alive, sieve tubes and fibers are dead. And similarly here, fibers, vessels, tracheids are dead ones. So in detail, the chapter is already taught to you in your 9th standard. So now let's start with understanding how is this transportation going to happen. We are going to see it individually. Let's start with xylem. How does transportation of water happens in xylem? Talking about transport of water through xylem, this happens by 2 ways. One is with the help of root pressure and the other one is by transpiration pull. See here, this root pressure and transpiration pull happens in different circumstances. Like root pressure normally happens in smaller plants, which are smaller in size, which are not very taller, or which hardly exist till some centimeters. Okay, and whereas transpiration pull will actually work for all the sized plants, whether small, whether big. It does not have any difference over there. So each and every plant can undergo transportation of water, that is through xylem, with the help of transpiration pull. Other than that, root pressure is normally this method. Even if it is used in larger plants, it happens at night. During the night time, during the absence of sunlight, this method is normally carried out, or this method proves to be helpful. In case of transpiration pull, this happens during the daytime, in the presence of sunlight or in the presence of the the scorching heat of the sun. Transpiration pull method will come into existence. Now let us try to understand what is the method of root pressure and what is the method of transpiration pull. Talking about root pressure, let's just talk about root pressure first and then let us go in detail for the rest. See here, a tiny little diagram to understand. Okay, can you see the roots over here? These roots are directly in contact with the soil, right? So what these cells do is they absorb the ions present in the soil. Ions, we are having so much of ions in the soil, especially those sodium ions, potassium ions, chloride ions. We have got so much of salts present in the soil, in the form of ions most of the time because of the presence of water. So this particular cells which are in contact with the soil, what they do is they absorb these ions. They actually attract these ions. They actually take up these ions. Now what happens is the ions will be more inside this root cells compared to that of in the soil. Like for example, if at all this part of this root here or the root, if it is having 15 ions and the surrounding area has hardly 5 ions. So in this case what happens is, because of the difference in the ions over here, water will start to enter inside the roots in order to balance the amount of ions on both sides. Okay, so we don't want the salt content to be higher inside neither outside. We want it to be balanced. We want both the sides to have equal. That is how nature works. So what happens is, because of the high amount of ions inside, water which is present surrounding this roots will start to enter inside this roots. The more the difference in the concentration, the more water will enter. And because of this, what happens? Water level inside this roots will go on rising. As it is rising, it will start to reach, if I have a leaf over here, it will enter the leaf. If I have any, a branch over here, then it will enter the branch. So as it is going, whichever way it is getting, it will start to move out. So that is how it happens. So all the game over here is with the, difference in the concentration of ions. So the more the difference in the concentration, more water will be absorbed. Less the difference, less water is absorbed. And since this does not require any energy, no form of energy is utilized here, only the difference in the ions is causing everything. So what happens is here, it won't be going, this method will not help the water to reach to a higher level. Only till a certain part or only till a certain height of the plant, this water will be able to rise up. Next, let's try to understand about the method of transpiration pull. In order to get in depth with the method, first we need to understand what is transpiration. So if I have to put it in simple words, transpiration is nothing but loss of water in the form of vapor from the plant body. When plant loses water in the form of water vapor, we call it as transpiration. So for this particular part or for this particular method, we are using stomatal transpiration. Let's try to understand now how does it work, in actually extract or in actually conducting water. So as you know, due to sunlight, water near the stomatal regions will be converted into vapor and will release in the atmosphere. Now, this particular cells will be having less amount of water or almost nil. In order to, replace it or regenerate this water, what happens is the nearby xylem cells will provide the water for actually fulfilling the water need of the stomatal cells. Further on, as the water is being pulled up, as you know, because of the sunlight here, transpiration will be continuously happening, and because of the loss of water, they will be continuously trying to get water from the nearby xylem cells. So this creates a kind of suction pressure which will go on till the roots, till the root hairs as well. So because of the need of water, as the water keeps on going out from here, because it is in need, it will be pulling water, and because of that, water will start to enter here in the roots, and it will enter and it will reach the particular, as it is going up, it will start to supply water to each and every branch. So this method is much more helpful because it will help the water to reach any height of the plant. Okay, now one more good thing about this is it does not require any energy. Everything happens here due to sunlight, and the mechanism is very much similar to that of your straw. You normally drink water through, or any kind of cold drink or anything, you use straw, right? So what you do is you create a suction pressure. When this particular part is in your mouth, you create a suction pressure here, right? You suck it. When you suck it, what happens is water is being here, the liquid or the juice, whatever you are drinking, is being pushed up through this until it reaches your mouth. If you stop it, it will go down, and if you are not putting enough suction pressure, this will reach only till a certain height. So the same thing happens here. The suction is done by the sunlight or due to the effect of transpiration, and because of that, this entire thing continuously, here also I might have a leaf here also. So together all these leaves are creating those kind of suction pressure, and because of that, the roots will start to pull up water at a much faster pace, and hence provide the necessary water to each and every cell, to each and every part of the plant. So that was about transport of water. Next, let us try to understand transport of food materials. Okay, so transportation through phloem. Transportation of food, which actually happens through the conducting tissue phloem, is this method or this process is also called as translocation. We are actually changing the location of those food particles, hence we call it as translocation. This particular word is not at all used for transportation of water. This is specifically used for transportation of phloem. Now the point, what does this food contain? This food contains mainly sucrose or glucose, which is actually produced during photosynthesis. Other than that, certain amino acids, selected proteins are present inside the plant body, and other substances. Other substances might include some other resins and all. There are so much of things which are present inside a plant body, toxic substances and all. So all those comes over there. Now, so talking about transportation of by phloem, this is not at all, this does not have any resemblance or any similarity with that of transportation by xylem. Transportation by xylem was completely without any use of energy. It was either using root pressure or transpiration pull. In case of translocation, here we are using energy. Energy is needed here in the form of ATP. So now let's try to understand the process of translocation. So the process goes as follows. Using ATP, using the energy, phloem will increase the osmotic pressure inside the cells, due to which water will start to move inside the cells. As water starts to move inside the cell, the food particles which are present, it will start to move towards the cells which are having lesser pressure or low pressure. Now further on, again the osmotic pressure is increased, again the food will start to move to the lower pressure area. So this process goes on until it reaches the target organs, and it supplies food to each and every cell of the plant body towards the upper side as well as towards the downward side, including the roots and root hairs as well. So that is how it happens in case of transportation of phloem. I hope you have understood the concept. In case if you have any doubt, you can leave me a comment and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.